Apologies from councillors Dixon, Galvin and Moore, and also the Deputy General Manager.
He's Lyndon now. Yeah. Good morning, Lyndon. Righto, so apologies from 3 people there and the Deputy General Manager. Good. Thank you. Councillor Egan, seconded. Councillor Matthews. Yep. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Could somebody move the adoption of the recommendation that the confirmation of the minutes of the previous ordinary meeting held on Thursday the 24th of March. Thank you. Councillor Carlton, Councillor Smith seconded that. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. There is no presentation. A call for declarations of interests, gifts received and conflicts of interest. None at this stage.
In the confidential item, you and Councillor.
Oh, well, I will declare that even though we're not going to actually deal with it. We can't deal with it, but there is some additional late items that I'd ask that you might consider to include on the agenda. The item 8.5 joint waste tender, be accepted on the agenda. That's the only one next, isn't it?
That's the only one.
Only one? Yeah. So it's all right to move that we do accept that onto our agenda today. Councillor Smith, thank you, and Councillor Egan.
We were looking at each other.
It'll be right.
I think you were saying good morning more than we did.
I didn't hear what you said, John, but I was nodding my head about something else.
Just 500 metres. Anyway, we've got a move and a second. I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
I don't remember, this is being recorded. The councillor's report is item 1. Oh, it's 8.1 actually. The activity statement there from the councillors. Is there anyone? It's just there for notation really.
There's some amendments that need to be made on my account.
Yeah, if you like. I mean, there is for me too, but it's close enough. But anyway, you go.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 meetings that I didn't attend.
Oh, all right. Well, just put a line through them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, we've been very busy.
Yeah. We have been busy. Yeah.
Which ones were they?
Phillips Eye, North Star, and
Well, it's the same at Tiffany, I noticed too.
Cropper Creek.
Yeah. I think mine's right this time, but yeah, Tiffany was the same. Actually, you probably know which one she attended. All right, can I...
Just a comment there, Mr Mayor. In mine, I don't know how the North West Show Group got into it, but I went to the meeting.
That's not how it works. You would have had it on your calendar.
Yeah.
And everything on your calendar appears here.
All right. Sharice chases you down.
Yeah.
I need to move it second.
Yeah, so mover of that report received and noted, please. See, seconder.
Oh.
Councillor Matthews. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item 8.2, Executive Services Report for March. You take questions, Max, I presume?
Yes.
There was... I know that the answer you're going to give me, but it just seems a bit funny to me that the top item there on the construction certificates and DAs, there's a house being relocated on Borrelink Road for 86,000. Brand new house being built in Morrell for 80,000. Just seems very light.
Yeah.
It is very low. There's no way you're building.
You can't
build
do it.
6 squares for 80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned before, the amount of money that's in the business paper is what the people put on their development application. The fees that we charge are based on our assessment of what it's likely to cost. So there will be a difference, but that reflects what they tell us.
Yeah.
Is that meant to be the value of like what they're writing down here?
Yes.
That's what they
That's
tell
what they've
us.
valued at it, but the true value will be one that.
I doubt you can build a house for 80,000.
And
Be
then
much
do
of that.
Might get a shed.
Shed cost you that.
I actually went past that block the other day and they've knocked a lot of trees, chipped them up and...
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so is there any other questions on that? No, and neither of the recommendation report we received and noted then. Thank you, councillor Matthews, councillor Mulligan, second that. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Before we
Aye. Oh, wait,
the complaints and inspections for March,
I can still say that's carried, we can look at it again, yeah.
yeah, there's 7 pending. What does that mean, Max, please?
That they haven't been resolved yet.
They've been inspected but not resolved.
Oh, they may not have been inspected either, but they haven't been resolved.
Thank you.
Yeah, the monthly action progress report. This is pretty comprehensive. I did have a few questions here.
It's just an attachment.
This is part of it. I suppose I should have dealt with this, shouldn't I? Can we talk about the pool contracts in confidential session?
Yes, sure.
Right. I had a few things highlighted here. I see some of Susie Weber's stuff there is not started. That's all right. But there was another thing here. What's the reason for none of the water jobs being done?
It's more likely that someone hasn't completed gone into the system. Each manager's responsible.
Oh, they haven't reported it.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they haven't gone in and updated it, then it just gets...
Well, there's a lot of these deferred to 23, 24. Wonder why that'd be. See that?
in the-
It's on the, there, have a look at this one. They're deferred.
Yeah. I'd say that just other urgent works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether they were waiting for an excavator or something that's being used in the roadworks, I don't know.
Well, I'll find out.
Okay. And there's more here over the page. See the Stage 2 North Bingra sewer extension, deferred. Is that because we're waiting for a grant?
No, that's just because we haven't finalised the actual design. Because the bit that used to come up to do the work and come up for COVID.
Yeah.
And then got other work on it and they've got to get back in.
Righto.
But all the housing inspections have been undertaken.
Right.
And I think the locations of all the collection points, well, that's been done, it's just a matter of finalising the design.
Yeah. No, that's,
And also, I've got to say, I'm not sure that people take this document as seriously as they should. That's why we've started putting it to the council so that
This
will start-
document?
Yeah, they will
yeah.
start seeing it as an important.
Oh, you're talking about staff. It's very informative and it helps me a lot because you get questions about weird things sometimes. And if you've read this, it probably answered it for you. I didn't really understand the annual disaster recovery testing.
Page you on, John?
What page? I'm on 40. Right, we'll find out. And then what else have I got here? Then revised disaster recovery plan. So we have a disaster recovery plan, I gather. It's got to be revised.
Draft.
It's half done.
So Carl did that, was it?
Yes,
Righto.
And Justin's, that did, the audit office wanted that as well.
Oh, that's right.
And we proved that the plan did work, because when we had to evacuate the Bengra office building, we were still able to maintain business as usual. So we actually did get a bit of a tick from the audit office for that, because we had to put it into place and it worked, so.
Right.
He did an amazing report that day, didn't he?
I think the other thing I wanted to point out after reading all these things is that how much time we use on paperwork, you know, in the office work, how, what it would cost council for all this reporting. And I know it's, you know, it's the state government requires most of what we've looked at, but to me it's frivolous. A lot of it's frivolous to me. Yeah.
Some of these actions will get refined, Casey's working on it now, so that next year when this same system rolls again, they'll have much better actions in there that are much more informed of the task, so it doesn't seem quite as big a document.
And once the plan's developed, surely every year it's just adjusted slightly. Yeah.
Well, that disaster recovery plan, like Justin said, in there once we get back into our new building and we can have the servers and all that back into place.
Yeah.
And also, I think once things move to the cloud, the more they go to the cloud, the easier disaster recovery is for information, because nothing's actually stored on site.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And I suppose you read the PAGS grant sheet there, and they're going to make an early payment again, I heard.
Somewhere I read that.
There was it was an election thing.
Mark, was it? Something? we
Oh,
read
it could have been, I
was it?
can't remember. Something to do with the election.
Is this the 5th or 6th year in that road now?
But they've done that, yeah. I suppose it's all right until they stop. Yeah.
As long as they coincide that with our 10% rate peak, we'll be fine.
What's LCR? Sorry, I know that's stupid, but I don't know what LCR is. Administrative and support functions.
Not sure where you are.
On page 42, LCR. And I've looked back and I can't find it. You know what it is?
Where you at?
Isn't it local community, it should be LCRI, I think, local community roads and infrastructure?
No, it's to do with Nauru.
Or is LCR different to LCR?
To do with aged care, this one. Well, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it must be
Oh,
just-
no, that might be the compliance register.
Yeah, they are, mate.
Yeah, because they're all completing lodge returns.
Guess I looked at that and thought I should have known.
Well, I thought I'd known, I didn't. I thought I'd ask
Yeah.
and be dumb.
So that the operational plan, monthly action progress report, I consider to be quite valuable in this report. Yeah.
I'd say it relates to the annual Office of Local Government, you know, their compliance register.
Compliance register.
Anyway, it's another acronym.
Local compliance register. That's what I'll take it for.
Yeah.
They are good. Every year they send us out all the important dates, which practically covers 365 days.
And that will all be in this register for next year, that everything will be in there that we're obliged to have done by whatever date it's got to be done by.
Yeah. More reporting, as I said.
Yeah, it is actually.
It's
Yeah.
almost all completed in any case.
So item 8.3, another acronym, PAGS grant fact sheet.
Move, Mr Mayor.
What are you moving? You noted, yeah. All right, I got a second. Absence for the one of a second. Councillor Regan,
Be the one that says it.
put the motion, those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried.
This might have been where I read
I
it.
think that Linda and Chris, you should be well aware of this. We can't exist without this. It's a federal government grant every year. And you remember there was a challenge from the High Court. What was the man's name? I've forgotten, he's dead now. Challenged the Fed's finance.
On the coast.
I thought he was at Armidale Uni. Armidale, yeah.
I thought he could
Pope,
Pope.
yeah,
Some-
Pope it
yeah,
was.
Pope.
Anyway, he challenged the federal government funding local government and lost, fortunately. But we're always living in fear of that because they've got this and also roads to recovery money, which is about in the vicinity of $1 million a year for us. And FAGS, I'm not sure what FAGS adds up to.
1.9 is the roads component.
1.9. So, a little bit of background anyway. 8.4, Reconnecting Regional New South Wales Community Events Program.
I'll send out a revised recommendation.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, well, I was going to add, thought about it later. David Conway's left the district, but he used to run a very successful men's health night in Morialda. Could we use some of the money to do another one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I speak?
Yes, you can.
We had our events committee meeting yesterday
Yeah.
because it was scheduled for then, and because of initially the shows were in it, and I thought Dave would pick up on it himself, I thought we've got to move on this because the shows are in May and it's got to be spent by the 31st of March
Yeah.
next year. However, shows aren't eligible.
No,
Very
no.
clearly says
Yeah.
they're not, but we tried.
Yeah, we went through all that too, don't we?
Yeah. I think we're going to, the girls will get together and put it out to the whole of this shire
Yes,
if they have an event.
yes, yeah. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, and there were a few things. We thought, Max, I know it sort of says no infrastructure, but one of the things we really, really need for across the shire is, I'm going to get this all wrong, but a trailer. In my mind I can engineer it, but I just can't quite. And it's just a lightweight trailer sort of thing that folds out. And then when we have an event at Honey Festival, it can drag up there for the band and up to North Star.
Stage, you mean.
We've been talking to them about that, and providing it's not a significant amount, you know, in terms of
We don't.
percentage of the total budget, they think that we'll probably be able to work that in.
Okay.
So we're getting up some prices.
Yeah. Right.
And that works for the whole of the shire.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're having an event, you can come and get it.
Yeah.
And maybe we can even hire it when we're not using it ourselves
Yeah.
and give it the value. But we did talk about that yesterday too. So it'll just be a matter now of, am I right, Max, in saying that every community gets, well, they need to be advised first.
Yeah, well, we're going to start that process. We'll be writing out to
Yeah, and then,
various communities. And
their
putting it
event
in
forward.
for the next issue of the wider news.
yeah. So
All right, well-
everyone was very happy with it.
We'll have to talk to David and find out what it costs us, but a few ideas.
They were very successful, those men's nights.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really only the cost of the speaker.
And we usually got that funding through the RH.
There was considerable
Rural Health
funding. There was-
something,
there
Rural
was,
Health. And Chris Connors was very
Chris
good.
Connor was instrumental in getting it.
Yeah,
Is that Primary Health Network?
yes.
PHN.
Yeah.
I thought it might have come from a couple of sources actually, but
Working with you, I'm sure.
and I think it'd be wonderful if the whole shire could go to it, and not
Keep
just,
them going.
even though it's at Warrialda in that big shed. He organised buses from North Star and Crop Creek, and there's always a reluctance from anyone to come from Ingra, unfortunately.
But
But
we did one of our own
yeah,
at the
but it
club.
just needs to be one big one, I think.
Yeah,
And if we could run a bus over, maybe we'd get some
the
people.
Horton.
We did have some Bingra, I thought there was a bus from Bingra one time, eh?
There might have been, yeah.
A while back, yeah.
And then we held one of our own.
You got to have a really good speaker or somebody that's going to bring people along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue who that'd be at this stage, but like Tommy Rodonicus was very good, wasn't he? Yeah. That night we had him. We can't get him again.
No.
Tommy passed away.
See, Brett Kenny came up and he's in strife now too, so.
How about George Gregan? I'd even come. I'd dress as a man and I'd go.
Oh, you don't have to, women to go, don't worry.
I know, but
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
want to be his
yeah.
mate.
We just called it a health night, not a men's night. But the reason it was a men's night is, well, Tommy Rodonicus, for example, was foul mouth.
Oh,
Terrible.
I had to go out with Tommy Redonis one
yeah.
night.
That bloke you had at Cropper Creek, the boxer, wouldn't he be good? He's an American, wasn't he?
What's his name?
No, he was an Aussie. He used to
Was he an
he was
Aussie?
an Aussie. Tommy.
What's his name?
Oh, is that what it was? A pommy?
Yeah.
See, someone like that.
Oh, the bloke was was he a heavyweight champion
Yeah,
or something?
yeah. Somebody like that would be brilliant.
He was a big lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose George wouldn't rate up at Warrialda, would he?
Well, he would. There's a lot of union followers, but I'm thinking even higher profile than that otherwise. Yeah.
Oh, than George.
Yeah, George is
John Eales.
somebody current, maybe.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, that's,
Talking about Brett Kenny, he's not only got issues about that assault charge, but, you know, he's suffering from cancer as well.
Yeah.
He's in the wars. Great player.
Well, that other Parramatta centre's in a bit of strife that lives down the south coast. Didn't he get into a bit of trouble too?
Parramatta's written.
Cronin.
Brian.
Yeah, Mick Cronin in trouble.
I thought he got,
I thought he was pretty right.
no, I thought something happened. I saw something about him. It might have been just a perfect, just Parramatta footballers, that's what it is.
George's.
The other bloke, Dr. George, what was his name? Yeah, George Papana, sorry. He was He's a good footballer and a medical doctor.
He's a doctor, yeah.
Dr. George,
He
yeah.
would be.
Anyway, we're getting away.
Yeah.
This recommendation, Karen, still?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're happy to move it, then we'll.
Happy to move it.
Righto, thank you, councillor Regan, and a seconder, councillor Smith. Any further discussion on this? I think you need to put think caps on really and come up with a few things. It's $300,000 roundabouts.
There are criteria. We can't have it as a fundraiser, so it's not like we can
No,
go out and say
no.
we're going to have a huge fundraiser.
Yeah,
All we can do is provide free entertainment,
that's
a lot
what,
of value in our community.
that's what we'll do, yeah.
Do you want to add on there an allocation for a health speaker?
Well, yeah, I've just got men's health night, but just call it, take the men's off it. Yeah.
And add into it, Max, the investigation into the overall
Oh, yeah.
things, so that'll decrease our funding.
Make it a Shire-wide health night or something like that, Max, try and get around. Okay, so the mover and second are happy with those additions. We have the health night and the trailer on it. Okay, so I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, no, carried. Now, I can't find in front of me.
Before we go into the confidential, do you want to, can you run that YouTube thing? Yeah. This is the latest YouTube for the bypass.
I'm Alex Eddy, and we're back on the way out of heavy vehicle bypass today with a very exciting development. After a long 5 years in the making, the road is being into the seal. Since our last instalment, the final layer of pavement's been imported onto the project. In total, there are 4 pavement layers throughout the alignment, and in places, the pavement is over 2 metres thick. A number of different gravels were used for the construction, including crushed basalt, imported granite, and naturally occurring sandstone. In places, all 3 of these layers were modified with the addition of either cement, fly ash or slag to improve their structural properties. The seal being laid today is a primer seal. Our primer seal is a thinner bitumen seal that allows us to rework any isolated failures once the road receives traffic. It's not unusual to experience small isolated failures on new construction, especially with greenfield projects that are over 4 kilometres long like the Warrior bypass. The next step following the bitumen sealing will be the installation of guideposts, signage and line marking before the road is officially opened by the Government of New South Wales on the 5th of May.
It's a good place to do wheelies.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I did, yeah. I was going to get the mayor's car and do it, so that they said to them, but they...
I had a bit of trouble
Could I ask
getting
what-
around the barricade and mine.
What depth of ash you put on there?
It was
Percentage.
2% in the final.
Oh, 2%. I thought we worked at 3.
Yeah, no more though.
So one of the reasons that we wanted to play that was just to go over the issue of the primer seal, so everybody was aware of that, and Councillor D. Colton will be all over it. But despite, we've done very extensive compaction testing throughout that project, and on each of the 3 top layers, we tested up with RMS protocol, and our compactions were all well in excess of what they had to be. But they don't capture every last square metre of the 4 kilometre road. We have got some blokes that have worn out their shoes walking up and down the road following a loaded water cart, checking for soft spots. It's pretty unlikely that we're going to have any reworks, but it certainly is a possibility that we might have an isolated patch that we've got to come back and put some cement in over the next 6 months. It's a little bit different because it's a greenfields project that's never had traffic. When we're rehabilitating a piece of road, it's constantly, an existing road, it's constantly receiving traffic, and it's getting that natural compaction throughout the construction process. We haven't got that advantage with the bypass, so there is a possibility that there might be a small patch of bitumen somewhere there over the next 6 months that we patch out before the proper seal goes on next financial year.
Alex, just for the sake of the record, I mean, most of this is going to be done next week, but I would like to take the opportunity to recognise the fact that this big project's been completed under duress, and congratulate you and your team on the way you've done it. I hope to do this more formally on Thursday, but it needs to be on record now. And the other thing is that everybody would have received their invitation to the opening and to the lunch afterwards. We omitted your spouses off that. They are invited, so please, if they can come, bring them. And Teus is here today, so you can RSVP today. Alex, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was at that function at home, after the governor leaves, you want to then have a few words and congratulate the men and
Yes.
celebrate the work they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
That opportunity.
Yeah. It's been a wonderful effort, especially in the last couple of months, hasn't it?
Extraordinary.
And not only then, but they've worked really hard to get it completed.
And we've had staff that have consistently given up RDOs, given up Saturdays. I haven't crunched the numbers, but there's a group of about 8 staff that have almost lived on that job. 12-hour days were the norm while we could get them in. And it was all without complaint. We were all very happy to do it. There was the ownership there, and I really appreciated that.
There was terrific ownership, and I think I mentioned this before, but one of your grader drivers just take his wife out to have a look, and she said, "Oh, I hate looking at the road, but he just wants me to go." So, they were very proud of what they did, and I drove it before it was sealed, obviously, and it was a magnificent bit of road. I've driven it since it's been sealed, and I think I made the comment here, it might be the only bit of greenfield road you'll ever build in your career. And it's going to be a terrific asset, and I think once it gets open for traffic, that truck wash will be a lot busier. It's busy enough now, but it'll be even better. So anyway, I think on behalf of all of us, Alex, to your team, you might take it back with you. Congratulations. Job well done.
Thank you.
There is one last item before we go into confidential, which is the 8.5, the joint waste tender, which went out as a...
I think you've probably all read that. You understand what's happening, that the other 2 councils involved with this want to renegotiate the tender.
And we definitely get benefit from tying our apron strings to the larger centres.
Yes, we do. So I just asked for a move of the recommendation to start with.
They'll push for the same mob to do it, but cheaper. Is that?
Well, I think they'll open it up to all
Everybody,
all people that deal with waste. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the motivation is to not take on the 2 one-year extension terms. I don't think we've had a problem with the contractor, but I know that Moree are really the ones pushing for going out to a new tender.
Interesting, because there's not a heck of a lot of those companies about, is there? I mean,
There's more.
nearly a
A limited number.
very limited number.
There will be competition.
There'd be half a dozen, I think, and there's 2 Richards, for example. And there's another lot that talked about us getting waste from in Sydney. I know they were in Tamworth, I saw them. Anyway, there's 2 Richards, but I just can't think of the names. Anyway, regardless of that, it's nothing like reviewing a tender, I think. And so therefore, that's where we're up to. You're going to move that?
I'll move,
You're moving the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Mulligan. And a seconder, please, from somewhere. Councillor D. Colton. Any further discussion? Not. Put the motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, no carried. There you go. I think we might go and have morning tea, come back into confidential session. Unless, of course, you want to do council reports now. If you have something that's can carry over into confidential, we can do it then. But for the sake of the recording, I'm happy to take some now if anyone has any. Yeah, I'll go this way.
Yes.
Councillor Regan.
Councillor Galvin, yes. Councillor Galvin asked that I talk about the trees down here in Fraser Street that were going to be planted out. So the residents there apparently think that the street can't carry the trees, but as I pointed out to Tiffany at a later stage, I said the same trees are planted down at the school where buses put children on and off, and there appears to be absolutely nothing wrong with it. So I just said I would raise the trees in Fraser Street with you.
Andrew and Stan are going to go and speak to all the residents.
Because it's no different to any of the other.
So to get it straight, the request is they don't plant the trees, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the other thing that's been brought to my attention is the pigeons at the show in the grandstand.
So what are you going to do about that? I'd like to know the answer to this.
Oh, it's this thick.
Oh, that, but but you're trying to get rid of the pigeons. So.
No, we need it cleaned out.
So you've
You
got
can't have it there for the show.
you have a committee, don't you?
And well, you can't hose it, John, that's the trouble, because it's going down through we're going to have to do something because it's dropping through to the other part of it's sort of a health problem, I think. But anyway, I've raised the pigeons. There's ants in Warialda.
Is what?
Ants.
Meat ants in Warialda in that Pioneer Park, and I think they must be going
Oh, yeah.
to
Where the hell's that?
yeah, just on the footpath. There's nothing.
In Captain Cook Park.
No, I'm calling it, I don't know what it's called.
I don't know where
Under
you're
the
going.
high school.
Yeah, there was
Pioneer
the cemetery.
Oh, the cemetery.
The old cemetery.
Isn't that called Pioneer?
Probably.
Oh, it could be Pioneer Park, yeah, because we all know.
And there's
it's the old
meat
cemetery.
ants. I've got.
On the footpath.
I know how to get rid of meat ants.
Are we allowed though?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Anyway, I've mentioned it. Can we have a note out to our businesses, probably in both towns? This has come up from a meeting yesterday. That the shop fronts need to be cleaned. And particularly, we've got a couple of empty ones now that are looking anything but presentable.
We send that back to the chamber? 2 chambers?
Well, it's the business group is the ones that's raising the issue.
No, it came out
it's
of
the
the
events
events
committee.
committee yesterday.
Wouldn't that be a logical thing to go to the chamber with that? Or?
Well, I think it should.
Yes,
I think that
okay.
the shop owners should be made responsible, whether we send them a letter
Oh, well.
or how we go about
Or
it.
we'd
But
write-
that was what I was asked. The funeral parlour in Bingara in particular could be somewhere waiting for an accident to happen. I don't know whether that's drumming up business or not, but falling down as you walk past it, the white ants or something are in it, and you go past and there's
This is
stuff.
the one we nearly bought.
We've had lucky escape from a few. You know about the bins, Max?
Yeah.
And could we have the footpaths cleaned a little bit more regularly? Like the bins, could they be cleaned a little bit more regularly than they are? That was my meeting yesterday, thank you.
That's it? Right. Well, if all the councillors' reports take as long as that
This
one.
meeting with.
Hmm?
There was staff at this meeting that you went to.
Yeah. But I said, oh, no, the biggest thing's at the top of it, and I nearly missed it. The electronic board.
Yeah.
Where are we up to with that? Casey did ring me and ask me what it was. I proposed that time, and I said, well, it was an electronic.
Yeah, they're getting. New
Have we
quotes.
had the quotes for it? That was some time back.
Yeah, Legal was dealing with that.
Or Casey?
Oh, we should probably ask Casey.
Oh, okay.
It's noted. You'll get an answer later. There.
Yep, okay. Thank
Councillor
you.
D.
Nothing.
I thought you would have been announcing to everybody that the Warialda show's on next weekend. Weekend
Well,
after.
I could probably do that and invite you all to attend, and if you want a membership ticket, turn up from Saturday when the Secretary's office will be open and I'll deal with you.
Thank you, David. Jeff?
Very good entertainment.
No, I've got nothing. I have got, I can't think what it is.
Oh, sorry, we'll have another crack at it later.
No, I'll come back.
I have those moments all the time. Anything from you, Councillor Matthews?
2 things.
Yes?
First of all, I don't know whether you want to call it Cunningham's Camp or the Junction, that park
okay.
area.
Yeah.
It's being used after hours by people who are driving irresponsibly on the grass, doing wheelies and lighting fires and doing extensive littering
You're talking about just under the bridge?
Down here,
down here.
down on our riverbank.
Junction Park.
And
Yes,
I think
Junction
there's a
Park.
case to be made for that area to be isolated from public availability after hours.
Okay.
I've just cleaned up, every day I clean up cans,
And
bottles
your
and things.
Yeah.
And today there's a big pile of broken bottles and a hot log and whatever there.
It's no good.
There's a big fire there. We were up early this morning.
It's still burning when I went down there to walk the dog at
And
8
you're
o'clock.
right about that. We cleaned up a big garbage bag the other day, and you think, why do we educate young people if they don't clean up after themselves?
Whole areas
And it's a
covered
partying
with,
place.
lollies and things.
Right, anyway, it's no.
Anyway, that's a proposition
Yeah,
that
sure.
becomes unavailable out of ours.
Okay.
Second thing is
How we do that.
defibrillators.
Yes.
Okay, there's, to the best of my, I haven't investigated what's happening in Warrialda Business Centre, but to the best of my understanding, there's one automatic external defibrillator available in the senior sits, which is available for 2 mornings a week. There needs to be a publicly available automatic external defibrillator
Council
in both
Chambers?
towns.
Council chambers have got it in Warrialda here too.
We had,
The old chambers had
yeah.
it.
It needs to be in the street and available. As part of the resuscitation these days, it's the acronym for cardiopulmonary resuscitation is DRS, A, B, C, D. And the D is danger, the R is to check if the person's responsive, and the S used to be send for help, but it's now send for help and send for the AED. Hey,
Yes, there was one in the council chambers, which is now closed, as you know, so I'm not sure what's happened with that. But I know in Warrialda there's one in the council chamber. They're placed all over Warrialda.
IGA's got
IGA, the club's got one, the showground's
I've
got
got
one.
one, the showground's got one.
a few about, but
so if you have a
What you're
if you
saying
have
is
a
pretty right,
coronary,
have it sort of
if you have a coronary between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. down the pub,
Well,
no availability.
can it be placed, the one that we have here, can it be placed on the outside wall?
Sure, they make cabinets for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure who, that doesn't just need to be an AED. It needs to be continually monitored for function, for batteries,
sure.
for things like that. So, there needs to be a publicly available one,
We did this a few years ago and bought.
and B, there needs to be someone charged with the responsibility for looking after it.
Yep. Right.
In Australia, 30,000 people die a year from coronary events.
And they don't need to.
100 die from fires.
Yeah.
If you look at the fire extinguisher to AED ratio,
Good
it's
point.
much in favour of
Yeah.
Just so you know, if you're in that position, there is one on the external wall at the club down at the sporting
on
club.
the external wall.
External wall, as
Okay.
you walk in the ramp on the right-hand side, you can grab it and go.
Okay, available out of hours?
We've had
Available out of
Well, it's
hours?
external, it would be.
available at any time.
Okay, I'll go and have a look
Guada
at it.
Oval one, is it outside? There's one down at Guada Oval.
There's not a lack of them, but they probably lack of availability might be
Well,
the
we
point.
put ours on the outside
Yeah.
so that if it's on the golf course or
Yeah.
anywhere around, they know that they can come and get
Well,
it.
another
put it
thing,
on the outside of the building, you've got to have a glass smashable case or something, do you?
We haven't, we've just
No,
got.
you don't have to, you just
To
have it.
stop people from,
Well, that's an issue, but I mean, you've got to figure that against the issue of
Yeah,
not being able to
I
grab the
just-
thing in a hurry.
And a surveillance camera. John will tell us
yeah.
who's
Should we then have a register of where the AEDs are
probably
in both the
a good
towns?
idea.
Yeah.
I would think the Warrialda Sporting Council, because they funded quite a few, or share funded quite a few of those around Warrialda. I know the one at the Golden Bowling Club was, I think it was half and half or something like that. So maybe, Cheryl Lee Tooley is used now, and Carl, they're mixed up with that, the Sports Council, so they may know whether there is a register of where they are in Warrialda. But I know there's one at the showground, there's one at the,
I think you made a valid point in that it's all right if you've got 5 or 6 in town, you've got to be able to access them and
You've got to know where they are.
but they've
you've
also
got-
got to
you've
be
got to be-
accessible
They've got to
24/7.
be accessible
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
24
well, the
hours a
one
day,
at the showground's
and they've got to be
inside.
accessible within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to grab, now you don't do this and think about the AED. You put the pads on
Yeah.
and you do this.
Yeah. Okay. Well. You've
Can I just say, I think also the smaller towns too.
Yeah.
Like most of the sporting clubs, because they were grants coming from the sports commission or something or other, they were 50/50s.
Yep.
And I know, like in Cropper Creek, I remember we discussed that, and the sporting, it was 50-50, but the fire brigades also have one on their trucks as well. And so that was always the fallback position.
There's one at Cropper Creek at the club, is it?
There is, but it's not available whenever the Tallulah Pony Camp's on.
Yeah.
It's there the rest of the time, but it's not there, but the fire brigade's got one.
Yeah.
Well, we put it outside down there so that, and we hoped that everyone around knew that they could quickly get that. It's very accessible.
All right. Yeah, good point. Is there anything else, Councillor Matthews?
I think
you're done. Councillor Mulligan?
You're just following up, I guess, on community meeting things we had in Cropper Creek, and keep that jet patcher rolling. Alex doing a good job. I guess probably the biggest, there's two concerns. One is that railway crossing, how much it's sort of encroached onto a couple of premises along the front of it. It's like it's monstrosity. I mean, everybody's living in fear that if it rains really heavy and one of those pipes block up, it's going to just flush through a couple of houses, a couple of premises. It's because the railway line's gone up about a metre or something or other, and it's just made this massive crossing. It's pity they just didn't move the whole thing back across, a couple of metres. I guess the issue is going forward. I mean, we heard last time that RTAC, a lot of the, doing things for 15 years, but ultimately at the end of the day, the council is going to be the one that's going to wear it after that. Yeah. So just to make it aware, there's a fair bit of concern there.
I was speaking to Cheryl Timmins about it the other day, and she said I suppose it was the ARTC have been back and checked their levels, and I was pretty disappointed because I know Alex requested that one of our people go with them, and that didn't happen. They weren't advised of it, and I agree with you. I think it needs following up. The store's particularly worried about being flooded. Yeah.
I'd say, the house right on the corner, really, so the water, it's just going to go straight through it if the pipes block up.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just that, I know they're going to, and I think the question was asked about how solid is the hydrological report that they use for doing it. I guess council's just got to be satisfied that it is good and it's going to do what it's supposed to do.
Just point something out with regards to these level crossings. The rail corridor cuts the road corridor, not the other way around. So the land between, from edge to edge of the rail corridor where it crosses, that actually isn't owned by council. So while our road goes across it, we are occupying the rail corridor as we drive through it. And that limits how much authority that we have in that parcel of land.
But it shouldn't limit where the water goes, Alex. I mean,
no, it shouldn't.
That's common law, and I'm not satisfied yet that I saw the report with you, and I thought it was an excellent report. But you've got to rely on local knowledge, and when the store was really worried about their tanks being inundated by floodwater, I think we need a bit more satisfaction than what we've got. And I was going to bring this up at the meeting that they cancelled on Wednesday. It's one of the things I wanted to mention.
I wasn't aware that meeting had taken place because, as you say, they had committed to a member of the engineering department.
Well, Cheryl Timmins said they'd been.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, they'll be having a stand at the Warriolda show.
Yes, they are. No, but it's
So if you want to come in and Lyndon, it only costs you $20 for family membership.
You should say that, Councillor Colton, because I said exactly the same thing to Cheryl Timmins.
I'm going to hook into them.
Yeah, right. I already have. Well, we did well last time. Also, Mr Mayor, just the rubbish tip at Cropper Creek is really causing a bit of consternation as well.
What's the problem?
There's just rubbish everywhere again. It just doesn't we don't get it pushed into the hole often enough.
Laurie was doing that, wasn't he?
He was, I guess, I'm not sure whether Laurie's trying to retire. Some other local.
Well, I know he's going away for a month, so
there's just, it just needs pushing a little bit more regularly. I did hear one person go down to do the recycling and it was full and the rubbish was all around it, so they just threw the rubbish into the hole. I guess it just, you're relying on community members to do it, but I guess we just need to make sure it gets done, that's all.
Yeah.
I believe at the Cropper community meeting this might have come up, but in the event that it didn't, one of the issues with compacting our landfills is that because our compactor is a certain width, it requires an escort, so it takes two staff members to move it around, and one has to sit in the car for the day while the other one operates. To get around that, we've spoken with a local contractor who has a float, who we'll be working fairly closely with, who will move our machine and then he can disappear for the day And it'll just remove that need for 2 council people and should see our remote landfills getting pushed with greater frequency.
Would it pay, just going on that, would it pay to look at, say there's someone out there, I know Laurie's been doing it, but if there's someone else near there that's got a loader or something to, and not only Cropper Creek, other areas.
Used to do that, I know.
It's easy just to get someone and say, yeah, look, if you could do that once a week, we'll give you a whatever.
It used to happen, didn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would it be once a week we'd need it?
I don't know.
Probably.
Well, put it this way, better doing it more frequently than infrequently.
Yeah.
I don't know why that stopped, Jeff. That was the policy, wasn't it, Alex? That somebody local, I think Ken Bell was doing it in Gravesend for a while.
I think that it was all just a handshake gentleman's agreement
Right.
sort of thing.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And I think it was the same at Upper Horton, wasn't it? Somebody was doing it there. At the moment, it's happening in Crop Creek, but it's illegal, really. Yeah, if there's an accident, I know. Right, so that's you covered, Councillor. Thank you. Well, anything I've got to say, I'll do it in confidential session, so we'll take a break now and have morning tea. Next, I've got a mover and a second that we go out of this confidential session. I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. It's now carried, and we are adopting.
The recommendations from the Committee of the Whole, the Regional Drought Resilience Plan. The recommendation is that the Council notes the recommendation from the Drought Resilience Plan Project Control Group and resolves to accept the tender submitted by the University of New England, and that if for some reason UNE do not accept the acceptance offer, that the tender received from Alluvium be accepted. Further, that the common seal of the Council be affixed as necessary to any documentation required to action this decision. The Kiora item 7.2 regarding Kiora 819 Eden Forest Road, Gravesend, is deferred due to a lack of a quorum. And in relation to 7.3, the Bingra office renovation, the report be received. And there were also recommendation that some councillors' reports be received regarding the McMaster University Scholarship, the Legacy 100-year anniversary, the meeting with Moree Plains that has been deferred, and also the potential names for the bypass road, or rather the high productivity route at Warrialda. That's the recommendations from the committee.
Thank you.
Need a mover and seconder to adopt.
Yes, someone adopt those, please. Councillor Egan, Councillor B. Colton, those in favour say aye. Aye. No, carried. Thank you very much for your attendance.